Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Look, this happens every single time the price of XRP goes down without fail. You get a bunch of people that are afraid. They voice, in many instances, I'd say, unreasonable concerns about XRP, as though there is specifically something wrong with XRP when the price goes down. You get ridiculous narratives thrown all about the place throughout the broader crypto sphere. In fact, this includes crypto media. I'm going to share with you 3 such narratives that I've seen spread about and discussed via crypto media, and I'm going to rip them to shreds because they just don't make any sense as to why XRP is doing anything that it's doing, or that it should even be impactful necessarily. It does not make sense. And so, as is frequently the case, price will do something, and then whatever is going on, even tangentially related to whatever ecosystem it is that you're talking about, in this case XRP, that's the reason. It's assigned as the reason. Because why else would it do a thing? Well, I'm going to explain why it's doing a thing. It's macro, my friends. There is functionally nothing wrong with XRP. It's just so damn silly. And also, I will say, if you are one of the people that's fearful, you're going to feel a whole lot less fearful by the end of this video. That's my aim anyway, because I just don't think it makes logical sense to be fearful at this particular moment. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it's 2:22 a.m. Central. It's my time zone here in the good old Midwest of the United States, so early in the morning for me. Friday now, September 6, 2024, XRP dropping at the moment I'm recording this. It's down to 53.7 cents. Bitcoin also, $55,906. Now, I want to kind of beat this point, kind of repeatedly actually, just kind of smack you all over the head with it. Not for too long of a period of time. I won't belabor the point in every single video, but I do want to share with you one thing I've mentioned a couple times in recent videos and show you the imagery of it, and then piggyback off of that to show you why it's not something that's even unique to XRP or crypto. Right? So I have highlighted, or mentioned this anyway, at least a couple times recently, and I have told you that historically, this is just data, this is not opinion, this is not up for debate, this is a fact, that Bitcoin historically performs very poorly in the month of September. And we'll talk more about why in just a second here. But it performs horrendously. And so what's on your screen out here is the monthly price action for Bitcoin in every single individual month dating back to the beginning of 2011. And so that means we have 13 complete data points from 2011 through 2023 for Bitcoin. And what you will notice is that 10 out of 13 of these data points, so again, from the year 2011 through 2023, which is the last complete month, 10 out of 13 of those data points show that Bitcoin price is down. It's a matter of fact. That is very normal. Doesn't mean it can't end up being a green month. It's not probable, the data shows. But it's not just that, as you should well know to this point, unless you're brand new to crypto, in which case I say, welcome you, thank you for joining us. You should well know otherwise that the stock market and crypto markets, they do move in tandem. It's provably the case. What drives these markets? Liquidity also. So take a look at this. Here's a headline from CNBC. Because we know, again, the stock market moves in tandem with crypto markets, not literally down to the second of the day of the month necessarily, but my God, September is historically horrible, literally the worst month for the stock market. And this all flows together. But we see this happening, and that's why I said at the outset, all these negative narratives about XRP and crypto media runs with that, and then Moon Lambo has to fix everything and take these articles and rip them to shreds, throw them in the Moon Lambo wood chipper, right? Because this is why you shouldn't be afraid, folks. I'm not telling you to buy or sell. You do whatever you think makes sense. I'm telling you I think it does not make sense to be fearful here at all. September, you should expect it to be bad. And if you're responding emotionally this way, just know that you should look at the data. You should have looked at the data like last month and been like, oh yeah, when September runs around, since I'm emotional, I'm probably going to feel negative next month because the data tells me that. Is that how you, like, do you see how silly that is? And so I'm not going to read this article, but just note that the S&P 500, they cited how down it was for each of the last 4 years, the month of September. So in September of last year, S&P 500 was down 5%. In 2022, it was down 9%. In 2021, it was down 5%. In 2020, it was down 4%. In fact, on average, check this out, and this is a wild stat. The S&P 500 is on average down in the month of September, going back to 1948. So there's this article from Inc. that's on your screen here. They pulled data from, it's at the bottom here, you can see it, but it's from BMO Capital Markets. And this data going for the S&P 500, going back to 1948, shows that on average, September is down 0.7%. Now, if you're looking at the screen, you can see just how much of an outlier that is. It is extreme. In fact, the only other month out of the year that is down at all, on average, dating back to 1948, would be February, and that month is barely down. It's only down 0.1%. Again, September down 0.7%. You may also notice that these three blue towers to the right, representing the months of October, November, and December, average out to be the three greatest towers that there are for a quarter. This is why people always say historically fourth quarter is fantastic, because it is. This is just data. This is not opinion. You don't get to have an opinion on this. This is data. So why fearful now? So the stock market is down. Crypto's down at a time when history tells us we should expect it to be down, and people are having trouble sleeping at night. They're curled up and on a little ball on the floor in like the fetal position, sucking their thumbs. For why? For why, may I ask? Like this, it doesn't make sense. Now, the good news is it's reasonable to suppose that we will have a great fourth quarter. And there are other reasons outside of what I'm discussing here, but I wanted to set the table so that when I rip the XRP FUD to shreds in just a minute, you can appreciate that it doesn't make sense to be spreading the FUD in the freaking first place, right? So October, on average, is S&P 500 is up 1%. November, it's up, and this is historically the best month for the S&P 500 on average, 1.6% for November. For December, up, again, on average, 1.5%. Q4 is historically baller ass. It is baller ass. It's awesome, okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, you give it 2 thumbs up. You smile at it in the morning. Why wouldn't you? Now, Bitcoin mirrors that fairly closely. In fact, if you look at October, so we're back to the Crypto Rank website, so you can see the data from 2011 to 2023. We got complete months for each of those years, right? So I just told you that Bitcoin's down 10 out of 13 months, right? For that time period, right? 10 out of 13 of those years, rather, for the month of September, it's down. Okay, what about the next month? What about October? Well, check this out. 9 out of 13 of those years for the month of October, it's up. 9 out of 13 are up. And then for November, 8 out of 13 are up. So you get the point, right? And you can ask, okay, so why is it? Why is it the case that September is so bad? Well, there's all sorts of people that have, very intelligent people that have been trying to figure this out for the long time. Debates on this would be outside the scope of this video, but suffice it to say, a lot of people, their baseline argument is that it goes down to, well, when it's the summer, there's a reason stock market can tend to be kind of boring and move sideways. It's because, people are on vacation, this or that, and then when they get back, it's time to rebalance this and that. There's all sorts of arguments along those lines. I'm not here to litigate those particular points in this video. There's just some things that you can think about, and if you're curious, you can Google that. But either way, whatever the rationale is, that's up for debate. What's not up for debate is that you should expect this. So that's why when you see a headline like this, from the Crypto Basic, whale shuffles $105 million. Sorry, not $1 million. Whale shuffles 105 million XRP as XRP drops 2%. So what would the insinuation for somebody coming by reading that headline be? It would be that a whale's doing something and the price of XRP went down, and gosh, they're trying to make you think, oh, is that why? Is that the reason? Because the whale moved stuff? 105 million? No, the whole market's going, folks. And on top of that, I've been sharing with you in countless videos, proof, it's just on-chain data, that whales have been accumulating. And on top of that, I've been showing you proof that actually XRP has been outperforming the broader crypto market for like the last 3 months. It's one of the very best performers out of the top 100 coins. And most people, certainly outside of the XRP community, have no freaking clue that's the case. XRP seems to have perhaps already starting something that might become way more substantial. A lot of analysts think that this is the beginning of this. And when the market heats up, XRP is going to continue that outperformance. But in an environment where more money's flowing in once we get out of September, imagine what that might look like. And so that's the point that I see tons of analysts make. And we'll see what happens. I don't pretend to know, because my whole approach is just I buy and hold, and then if it makes sense to sell, I sell. That's all I do. So I'm not telling you what happens. I don't. For me, it doesn't matter. Not in the short term, because I will hold however long it takes. I will be more patient than everyone else. That is my investment strategy in a nutshell, right? But this is a bogus narrative, and they want you to think something like that, so you click on this, and everybody's already scared, right? It does not. It just, honestly, respectfully, I state it. I do not believe it makes sense to be fearful because of this stuff. It just, again, you should expect the markets to be down. When the market is doing what historically it tells you you should expect it to do, why would you be afraid? Does your logic work? No, you don't. It doesn't make sense. You should expect this. When the market does something you should expect it to do, and it's to the negative, don't let it hit you in the feels. Here's another one. I talked about this literally yesterday. Expert says appeal in Ripple case won't hinder XRP performance this bull run. And so, to be clear, this is not a knock against the crypto basic. It's a knock against the narrative that has been propagated by many in the XRP community on social media platforms, including X, which is where, let's be real, most of the crypto community lives, broadly speaking, including the XRP community. But is this the case? I literally just talked about this yesterday, and here we are. 24 hours later, crypto media's covering it all over the place. And I'm not complaining about just cover what is being discussed on important topics. That's fine. But the narrative that it's bad, that is wrong. I'm not going to read the article, but I will share with you one thing that attorney Fred Rispoli said, because he put this to bed, and I completely agree with him. He says, to those freaking out over possible SEC v. Ripple appeal, don't. And I'll just pause to note, in case you missed it, I don't want to go through this whole story again, but it is the case that that Ripple filed a document, which the SEC actually ultimately agreed with, basically just delaying the actual payment of the $125 million penalty that I'm sure you've all heard Ripple has been told they have to pay as a penalty as a result of this case coming to a conclusion here. Ripple has said that they'll pay it, but they want to wait. And the reason they want to wait is because the SEC is not promising to them or communicating that they won't appeal. And so a lot of attorneys within our community think, actually, this means it's a little bit more likely that the SEC will appeal, right? And so Fred says here, attorney Rispoli, to those freaking out over possible SEC v. Ripple appeal, don't. There won't be a ruling until 2026. SEC suing exchanges and alleging multiple tokens as securities has lessened the sting dramatically. If Ripple and or XRP don't make it now, it's not because of the SEC's case. Now that is spot on. I completely agree with that. XRP, the market knows that XRP has legal clarity. That's why market was real excited July of last year, remember? XRP got legal clarity. The price of XRP doubled in several hours, and fine, it wasn't sustained because the entire asset class was in a downtrend for a few months. Okay, fine. But market responded by doubling the price in 4 hours, but then when you got the news that was specific to Ripple, that they had to pay a fine, XRP only pumped whatever it was, 15 or 20%, and then, stayed there for a little bit. That shows that most market participants knew better. They didn't, and it stayed. So that's why I say, even if there's an appeal, even if that makes the price of XRP temporarily go down, the market knows XRP has legal clarity. And Stuart Alderati, Ripple's chief legal officer, has already said as much. It's the rule of the road. That's the law of the land. Whatever you want to call it, it just is. And so if you're talking about an appeal, even if you don't know any better, like just to be clear, as he says here, the ruling wouldn't be until 2026. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm going to hazard a guess that we'll have had our top for the market cycle before 2026. Don't you think that's most likely? I'm just guessing here. Maybe spitballing a little bit. So he's right. And so this is just another narrative. You just got to put it out of your mind. It doesn't make sense. Then there's also this one from the Crypto Basic. Ripple rules out initial public opening in the U.S. I mean offering, but bunch of C students. The XRP community would not see a Ripple IPO in the U.S. as Brad Garlinghouse has ruled out the chances of such an occurrence. Now, folks, this is another one I literally talked about like 24 hours ago. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse has dashed the XRP community's hopes of an imminent initial public offering. Hey, they did it right there. Golf clap where they corrected it. It's funny because before I read this earlier, and I didn't catch that the headline, they had the wrong word here. They have opening instead of offering. Oh man, freaking crypto. Like, I like the crypto basic, but I can't help but laugh. I'm like, do they read their own work sometimes? And I like them. I do. I don't like everything that they do, but on the whole, I'd say they're pretty fair towards the XRP community. Honestly, way better than like CoinDesk or Cointelegraph. But I can't help laugh when there's something like that. Anyway, so they write, Garlinghouse clearly stated in the Korean Blockchain Week on Wednesday that Ripple Labs will not pursue an IPO in the United States. The Ripple boss cited an unclear regulatory environment as the driving force behind this position, noting that his firm is not interested in another round of legal tussle. Garlinghouse stated that the regulatory crisis conjured by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on cryptocurrencies in the state had discouraged initiatives like an IPO among cryptocurrency firms, Ripple included. Okay, so this is not... Look, actually, let me say this first. I talked about this, like I said, about 24 hours ago. And I reminded everybody that we knew this last year. This is news from I think maybe November of 2023, somewhere around there. Almost a year ago. Okay? We knew because there was a letter that was written to investors of Ripple, and that got out. And Brad Garlinghouse stated that they were not seeking to IPO. Why weren't they seeking to IPO? It was made clear when they were schmoozing with all the people out there in the world who might throw in massive amounts of money, especially firms, that this wasn't the right environment to do it in. And that's enough for this video, like to conceptually understand. That's the argument, right? Ripple figured that out, so they shut down their roadshow. They're like, okay, we're not going to IPO. Then, in I believe it was July of this year, we found out that they were buying back something like $1.4 billion in shares, because there's non-IPO shares, obviously. Pre-IPO shares, rather. So we knew that, like, long time ago. We also knew that. And so I saw that. I covered it at the time. I was like, yeah, this isn't a surprise. We knew in late 2023, of course, that Ripple wasn't going to IPO. At least not now. Doesn't mean they won't ever. But now's not the time. That was made very clear. And so typically when you buy back, and it's a show of confidence in your own efforts moving forward, and good for them. That's perfectly fine, perfectly reasonable. There you go. And then they expect it's going to be worth way more moving forward. Okay, totally fine. So that happened, but regardless, why the hell would any XRP holder in 2024 think that whether or not Ripple IPOs is going to impact the price of XRP, when I can prove to you, or actually rather, I challenge you to prove to me if this is not true. I would tell you there has never been, maybe you could find one outlier I just can't think of, but there is, outside of that, if you can even find one, there has never been an instance where Ripple has had good business move, whether it's about XRP specifically or not, again, pertaining to their business functions. There's never been anything from them that has then caused the price of XRP to go up. I challenge you to find one. Maybe you could find one, and then I challenge you to find two, because I know that's impossible. Maybe there was one and I just can't think of it. But the point is, you shouldn't, it's not logical to expect that Ripple doing stuff with XRP or otherwise is going to cause the price of XRP to change. The data says no. So when I see a headline like this, and this has been discussed within the community on social media as yet another negative for XRP, and then I see some people using colorful language, and I'm just like, wow, you do not get it. When I see that stuff, I just respectfully disagree, because what you're arguing doesn't make sense. This has nothing to do with it. Again, which is why when I started the video, one of the things that I said is if XRP is down today, and it is, it's not because there's something newly wrong with XRP. It's people speculating. It's the case that crypto markets are historically down in September. The stock market, which moves in tandem with crypto markets, of which XRP is a part of, stock markets are also historically down in September. And again, these things move in tandem, broadly speaking. Both asset classes down in September. And then again, you can talk about the reasons why. That's outside the scope of this video, but that's data. Why then would you look at whatever happens to be occurring in the moment and be like, it's that thing, it's that thing, it's the IPO. You know, it's the whales, and it's the IPO. And it's the, there could be an appeal and everybody, the price is going down. What the hell world are you living in where you think that makes sense? Now, if you're brand new to crypto, I don't blame you for not knowing that. I wouldn't blame you. I didn't know right away. It took me a while to figure out some of those bigger picture things and learn and believe that they're actually true, but it's true. These narratives follow whatever the price is. That's what happens almost 100% of the time. There can be rare exceptions, but almost always it will be the case that if there's a price action, which whatever's happening in the moment, that's the reason. It gets attached to it. The truth is, humans emotionally make decisions and follow the leader. Like lemmings, sometimes like lemmings off a cliff, actually, to their own demise, one after the next, right? That's what's happening here. And so all that to say, with XRP continuing to gain adoption consistently for its entire existence on very many metrics, given that's the case, more utility, more enterprise use, all that stuff, XRP will not be stopped. Certainly not by FUD narratives like this that don't make no goddamn sense up in this couch. Don't make no goddamn sense. XRP will not be stopped. And the market has decided that. Why has the market decided that? I'd argue because XRP is freaking useful. I don't think it's just a fluke that XRP has all these incredible technical attributes, a long track record, all the developer activity, even though it's less than a smart contract platform. I don't think it's a fluke. It's got all these things going for it. All the bells and whistles getting attached to it now, and then it just happens to stay in the top 10. I don't think that's a fluke. So that matters, and so people like you and I that understand that utility matters and will win the day, we are the ones that ensure that XRP stays there, because even when price goes down, a lot of us are like, oh, I think that this is a misalignment in value. That's what happens. And then when you see the blow-off tops, well, that's a bunch of people that don't know anything about XRP, and they're like, take my money, and then they won't buy it now when it's 55 cents or whatever, 54 cents. But they will buy it when it's $5 and $10 and $15. It's the same mentality, the same humans with the same DNA that treat other assets exactly like that, including Bitcoin and ETH and Doge. Pick a coin that has gone up, Solana. It's the same humans with the same DNA. They chase green candles. XRP will not be stopped. Full stop. All right. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.